Welcome
Welcome
to
to
Shade in
Shade
the
in the
City.
City.
I am your girl, Treese.
It's Nels.
And today, y'all, we are here for an exclusive sip and shade, okay? On this reesateesa, I believe that's her name. I'm sure y'all have heard about it. And some of y'all said,
I
you
thought it
know
was
what,
reesateesa.
reesateesa? All right, excuse me. You know, reesateesa. I'm sure if y'all have heard about it, even if you haven't sat and watched through all 50 parts like myself, I'm sure that y'all have heard. And so we are here to do what we do best and save y'all about 6 or 7 hours. Now, I've lost a lot of time, but I do it for the love of y'all. Okay? It's for the love of what I do. And yeah, and we're going to break down this whole 50 part Who Did I Marry series. I just want to say this was so up my alley. I actually watched the show that comes on ID. This was so my thing. And so I was all in. As I said, I
You
actually sat.
actually watched what show that comes on ID?
There's a show called it's called Did I Marry?
Oh. Okay. And you know what's so funny? Okay, that I do know. And when she said
Yeah.
it, I was like, what the hell? But no, I thought you meant this. I was like, when the hell was this on ID?
Oh, no, no, no. But trust me, I've seen some crazier on ID. That's why I was just like,
Mhm.
oh, this
Yeah.
is right up my alley.
Hmm.
But yeah, y'all. So we're gonna jump into it, give y'all a nice shady breakdown, put it up in a nice shady bow. But if you haven't already, for our time, can you at least hit the like button as you're coming in?
And a subscribe button.
Yes, and that's free. And remember,
Join our family.
right, join the family. And it's spicy season, y'all. So the best gift that's free 99 is hit that subscribe button. But anyway, y'all, let's get into it and let's get shady. All right. So here's how we're gonna do it. Now, I have gotten it broken down into pretty much piece by piece, the important pieces of each video, so that you guys again save y'all time and y'all don't have to watch
Of
through.
all 54 parts,
I only have 50. Jesus, did it go to 54?
I feel like it was 54. I feel like
Okay. Well, we know Nels will be picking up the back end of this train.
no, I will not.
But so, um, as we know, episodes pretty much this is 1 through 12 that I'm going to break down for y'all. Some I'm going to have, some I was just listening and I was taking notes and I didn't have time to look at what part we were on. But if I can let you know or remind you of what part, I will do so. So now, obviously, part one starts with we meet Ressa Tessa. She's met this man on March 4th, 2020. All right. That was a very serious date. Obviously, y'all know your girl's on the 6th, just saying. But yes, I remember how everybody left my paint and sip. Well, most of my people left with the vid. And I don't know, again, I don't know how it happened. But anyway, so now they met on a
Is
Facebook,
that when that was?
at least for two of the people there, because they had just came from
When
traveling.
we were outside doing the paint and sip?
Because two people had that's why that's the only reason why most of us probably didn't, was because we were outside for the paint sip. But I had two
Mm.
people that had just came back from traveling internationally, and they both,
Ah.
yeah,
Look at that, piecing it together.
right before we knew what it was. Anyway, so yeah, anyway, they met on a Facebook dating site, or they matched on a Facebook dating site and hinged apparently. He was on both, but he was under two different names. I really wish I would have bought red flags for this. We definitely need to put that on the Amazon list. But yes, that was the first red flag to me. Why are we on dating profiles under different names?
Well, according to her, and you know what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna blame TikTok for this. She said that basically, it's like if you had a name like a first and a last name, and you put it together. Like on one profile, it was like your actual first and last name. Then on your next profile, it's like you put it together. So you know how his name was Legion. People are calling him Lee John.
Oh,
So like maybe one was Lee John and the other one was Legion.
okay. Well, anyway, this is when, again, now hindsight, she realized that this was the United Nations of red flags. Okay. But anyway, they exchanged numbers in the first conversation. He said that he had moved from San Diego. This is super important. He moved from San Diego
You
to
sound just like
Georgia.
her. Keep that in mind because I'm gonna go back to it.
Right. Because his job moved him because he was now the regional manager for a major condiment company there in Georgia. And I was like, what is it, Heinz? I'm just saying. I don't even know if Heinz is in Georgia. I'm just talking. So, but he's originally from Philly. Both parents are unalive. He has two brothers and two sisters, apparently. And then he has two half siblings from the daddy. This remember that,
Well, he
y'all.
walked out that he
Remember
done
that.
cheated on the
Y'all
mama
lucky
with.
y'all had to take notes. I had to take notes on this.
He done
It's
cheated on the
important.
mama with and had these babies outside the marriage.
Right. Yeah. So he lied on the daddy and said, that he was out here being a rolling stone. So anyway, at this time, she's working for the Georgia State Patrol, is what my understanding was.
Hmm.
And he said that he had come from a career of playing arena football, and used to work for Apple in the off season.
Let me ask you this, Trace, because
Yeah.
you probably know what the hell is arena football.
So arena football are played in arenas, so they tend to be like a little bit smaller than stadiums. So it's a smaller, in my, and correct me, drop down in the comments if I'm wrong. But I think they're smaller stadiums, so they
Who
don't have to
pays
run.
them? Who pays the players?
They do get paid, but it's definitely not NFL. Like nobody's making $1 million. They'll be like,
So like I
put it like
understand
this.
like overseas ball, I understand NFL, but who watches arena?
That's what I'm saying. People that actually go and attend, like people that actually go, but I don't see it being televised. Oh, I'm sure there's some special network like FX or some, one of them sports networks that probably shows it, but it actually is a sport. People do get paid, but they're probably, and this again, drop down the comments. I'm not trying to be shady. They're probably thousandaires. They're definitely not millionaires. And when I say thousandaires, I don't mean on the high side.
Oh, he was making it sound like he was making that guapo
No,
playing
that's
arena
why
football.
that's why in the off season he was working for Apple. That should tell you what type of paycheck he was getting. Okay.
Hmm.
And again,
His money was in his offshore accounts, girl.
anyway, and so then she learns that, he moved here and the job was supposed to be, allocating his housing. So they go on their date March 7th. All right. Um, day after a star was born. I was supposed to be born on the 7th, but God had other plans for greatness.
Well,
So
good
anyway.
thing he wasn't. All this disastrous stuff happened on this movie, girl.
Right.
Shoot, you would have felt like, look.
Right. So anyway, so yeah, they go on their date to the Cheesecake Factory.
Well, they were
Um,
supposed to. They were headed to the date.
Oh, well, yeah, they were supposed to be going to Cheesecake Factory. They apparently live 45 minutes apart because I guess he was in Augusta, she was somewhere else. But they agree they're going to meet in the middle, which ended up being there. She was gassed up, all excited about her date, and then her tire blows out. Now, a young lady like me, right? I personally feel, I love the Lord.
Signs, signs. The Lord tried to help you, girl.
Okay,
You're praying mama and you're praying auntie. Okay? Guess what? The Lord was trying to help you.
right.
You
So
ignored him.
anyway,
You ignored all the signs,
so
all the prayers.
she calls him and basically is like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it, da da da, whatever." And of course, he, comes to assist her, and she just thinks this is so
Like a
sweet,
chivalrous man would do.
right? And
Pretending.
so then she sees him, and she's like, "Oh, well, he's attractive. He's about six." This is what I thought was crazy. No, because she did say
She
he's.
said attractive because I know she said that he looked like his picture and he was five
Hear
six
me out.
something.
I took notes.
Yeah, you did.
He
You took
said
notes.
he was attractive, but then said because he's 6'4" or 6'5".
Oh,
So
okay. So
that
yeah, she was
means that she
attracted to the
thought he was
height.
attractive based on his height.
Child. If that's the case, you just might as well go outside and kiss a tree.
Now that was a good one. So we do learn that he is divorced and that his ex-wife had two children, a boy and a girl. Um, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to laugh through this because when you know what I know,
Exactly, because now we're at the end of the story, and we know all the stuff that she had to come back to. That's why she held us on these cliffhangers for so damn
right?
long.
So he had a close relationship with the stepkids, but left his wife because she cheated. All right, that's important. Hang on to that because apparently everybody's a cheater except him. He changes her tire, and then they go off. They go to the cheesecake factory. They're holding hands, and he tells her that he wants, basically wants to date for purpose and with intention, and he's just not out here, trying to date just because, or look for a cuddy buddy or whatever. And so they both agree they're dating for marriage. However, this is where I think things went way too fast. Y'all agreed y'all are on the same page. I didn't think it meant full speed ahead, but again, by all means, if you like it, I love it. So yeah, anyway, then he plays this John Legend song for her that gets her all captivated. And then they sat up sitting in the car talking about their life experiences. And then yeah, she questioned him about the ex and says that he wasn't very open about his past, but she told him about her ex that she used to work with, and that is important as well. Yeah.
You know what I would have liked to know? What she told him about the ex. Because when she said it, she said all she told him was that they used to work together.
Right.
But I would have liked to know what she told him about the ex, because then it would have set us up for the later on.
Agreed. Agreed.
But
Um,
she done told us enough, child. So listen,
but at the end of the day, I hear what you're saying, but this man was just doing things just to do them. So we don't know. He was just saying things. Just, yeah, it's,
that's the way pathological lies work. They're
I,
creative. They just come up with
I
stuff.
laugh, but I can't, like, I really feel bad because I can't imagine. I really cannot imagine. It's terrible to that extent of lying. Of course,
Mhm.
I've been lied to, but to that extent and that level on literally everything. Anyway, so they have been talking every day since they met. He even took her to Red Lobster in between this time. So this is before everything is shut down. So then they're trying to decide where they're going to quarantine, her house or his. And this is where I took a very long hard. I stopped watching it and I just said, why did this make sense? Drop down in the comments, Shade
I
Squad, and
think there was a lot of desperate situations around COVID. So listen, as far as
yeah,
that
I
goes,
know people that traveled together and got stuck on vacation together. Like I absolutely understand that. But when you got money and you on vacation and whatever, and I don't even agree with that, especially with a stranger. I think that should
I was
be
about to say, Trish, you the first one to talk about, oh, you don't go on a first date on a trip.
I don't. So
Because I know what you're talking about. You had me watch it. But I
it's just
guarantee, listen, I guarantee you, this Risa Tisa story, I bet you she's not the only person during COVID that did this mess. Where y'all went out on a few dates, we really like each other. Now COVID is coming. We're scared as hell. We don't know if we're gonna make it tomorrow. This could be the end of the world.
and you don't want
And
to you
and
don't want to
and
expire alone.
I bet you she's not the only one. So regardless
No, that's
to
actually a very valid and good.
regardless to how many of us are actually sane, you know what I mean? I can't really blame her for that, because even
Because
though
we
it is
all didn't know
stupid,
what was
it,
going
it
on.
was it even though we can say now in hindsight that it was stupid, during COVID, people were losing their freaking minds and they were doing all types of things they wouldn't normally do. So I know she's not the only one. But the fact she's on social media telling her business, of course we can judge her.
Okay, okay, Nels, look at her giving us some perspective. I thought Nels would have tore her up, but anyway. So he,
No, it's for me. It's all the lies that she ignored. This situation with COVID, there was a bunch of people that did some dumb stuff. Okay, people's out here look all types of stuff, all types. I ain't gonna get into it, but all types of stupidness.
well, we're about to get into the get down, y'all. So Now it's really about to pick up. Okay, so now here we are. He has a studio that he lives in, right? And she has a whole 3 bedroom townhouse, I think, that she was in. So they decide that they're going to quarantine at her place because he says that he's
Makes
in the
sense.
studio. Huh?
Makes sense. Because you got the house. You got the space. I
So
get a whole man cave.
he says that that was a whole that was a whole nother thing. You're giving up. Why does this man have multiple spots in your home?
Trace your face.
Like me, you would have been
Look,
lucky if you
like,
got a.
girl, you ain't got no kids. You ain't got nothing. You here by yourself. Oh yeah, I see. You know what? He was in there planning, child. He was in there
Yeah, no,
planning.
no. He would have been lucky if he got a corner for me. No, I don't play those
Look,
games.
he would have just had your side of the bed, his
Right,
side
your
of the
side
bed.
of the bed. And that better be kept clean. I don't like too much of your stuff, and hide that somewhere. Or look, keep it in your car. Apparently, that's what you like to do. So now, I'm sorry, y'all. We're gonna get through this. Now, they decide to stay with her. They're quarantining, and apparently, I guess, is still going in and out of work at this time. She's now remote. She said that her rent was only $1,000. I said, look at good old Georgia. Um,
Where was she at in Georgia again? Because look, I might have to relocate with these prices up here in the DMV.
right, but
Okay,
she said it was $1,000,
for a
and
three
he.
bedroom house. I
Mhm.
want to know if she was on any type of government assistance. Because a
Mm.
thousand dollars for a 3 bedroom house, even in Georgia, and this was only a few years ago. I don't know.
I don't
I
know,
don't know.
but she was able look, and he was able to pay it, and that's what's so crazy to me. But we'll get
Well,
there.
he was
So,
he was working. I mean, I just
well,
want.
she said he was paying the rent and the utility bills. And then they had a conversation about him and his house at a certain point. And so they make a decision that they're going to get a house together because they're planning this future together. They've decided that, they are
I
working
feel like
for.
Auntie. I don't want to hear nothing about these houses. I don't
So
want to hear nothing
then
about these houses.
she shows him the pre-approval letter from Chase, and he has an approval of $750,000 for a mortgage, right? And she's like, well, he's like, with my different accounts, because he has here. This is important, y'all. He has Chase, he has an offshore, and he has a U.S. bank that he says he has. And she admits that she lives paycheck to paycheck. So she's just like, okay, well, she went off of what she saw on the paper. So then they
This
contacted.
was the paper, y'all. This was the paper. This is all she needed. This is all it took. That's all it took. Chase Legion, 750,000. You are approved, and his signature. That's it. That's all it took.
All right.
She said, "Let's get this house."
So they contacted a realtor in Cobb County. And we'll get there, but they contacted a realtor in Cobb County. And so then they couldn't tour due to the demic. So they were doing these virtual tours. But he says that, they look at the house in Douglasville, they say they like it. He wants to put an offer in. And then she said the realtor called her one day because, you know, it's like, she's like, what's going on? Do y'all want this house or not? And they're like, oh, and she's like, I thought he said he put in an offer. And they're like, no, he didn't. And of course, she knows nothing about buying a home. So she's just confused. And because he claimed that he put in earnest money, which that's how y'all know I don't know nothing about buying a house. Because I'm like, what's the earnest money? What is that? But apparently he had put this into the house as well. Only for, I guess they decide because, oh no. And then he says they're going to get the house. They're going to close on the house. He lies to her, tells her they got this house. They've been approved, and then has them go to Home Depot and Lowe's and all
She
these other.
even checked online at this house and saw that basically it was like off the market. Like this, so this was her sign that yes, this is their house. They're getting this house. I think he done called the lady, cursed the lady out, and said, "Don't you call her. This is between me and you. I'm the one signing this contract." Because after she called him and let him know, listen, why this lady called me talking about we ain't getting a house? He called that lady and cursed her ass the hell out.
It was Scott.
Oh, it was
That
the
was a guy.
dude.
Yeah, it was a guy. That was the guy that time.
Child, that time.
That time.
I can't. I can't.
So anyway, The realtor calls. He gets upset, cusses the realtor out, and then tells her, "No, we
Look,
got."
allegedly.
Oh no! And then he tells her it's because he gave his friend that was a realtor the sale, and that's why the other realtor don't know about it. So she's like, okay, do do. And so they, he tells her, let's go shopping for appliances. He's putting down deposits to hold things. Here we are, May 2020. They still haven't done inspection for this house. He says they can't find anyone because of the vid. And then she said she started recording audio diaries for some reason. It was just, I guess maybe her
This
way of
is
like,
this now this is where she loses me. I can't give her nothing after this, okay?
okay,
Because
all right, y'all
everything
heard,
else, I'm like
y'all heard
everybody,
Nelson's disclaimer.
everybody else. I could be like, everybody else was losing their mind during the vid, whatever. They were doing stupid things, but you clearly knew something was up for you to have to make audio recordings, ma'am. It's not making no sense.
Okay. So yeah, y'all, she starts questioning everything she knows about. She finds out that she's pregnant mid-May. Okay. Now, she said that she had an internal struggle because they weren't married. And I'm like, well, he was already in your house, sweetheart. You know what they say about the cow before the milk before the cow. So, but hey, he is really excited, says he wants to get married. And so they plan to do that. And he tells her they're doing the virtual closing on their home. And then they were set to close before Memorial Day. She said that she internally felt something was off. So this is her not listening to her gut. And so basically, she didn't even start packing. She said she was still recording at this point, and said that basically they didn't close, but every time they were supposed to, it would go left. And she didn't know enough about the process and wasn't involved enough. She then starts to feel like this is affecting her pregnancy at this point because she's so stressed out. And then basically, I guess they find at this point, this is like the 15th house. And they were supposed to, get this house. They check it. She checks in with the realtor. This is, I think, June 5th, and the house is off the market. And yeah, basically, she finds out that they're not going to get any house at this point. And she's upset and, tells him to get his earnest money back, even though he's telling her. He comes home and she's like, oh, so what's going on with the house? And he's basically playing in her face, and she already knows because she didn't heard from
He's
the realtor.
continuing to play in her face.
Well, continuing to play in her face, even though she knows he's gonna come to her with some. Actually, he came to her and he was like, "Oh, I think the interest rate is too high, or something like that." And she was like, "You know what? If that's what you think, then you know what? We shouldn't get it."
Yeah, because
But
she wasn't
to
putting no money.
Nels's point, this is when we no longer can be like, okay, girl, well, we understand you might have missed some things. This is when we can no longer, because at this point, he's lying. And now you're complicit in the lie because you're playing right along with him.
She was just like she ain't had to put no money down. She like, listen, you gonna take care of it. You gonna buy us this $750,000 house. You ain't asking for nothing from me. So whatever it is at this point, whatever excuse you give me, I'm gonna accept it because I expect you to do what the hell you say you're gonna do.
She could not have thought at this point that he still had this money that well, clearly she did. But I
Mhm.
just, okay, so then we move on to the very sad trigger warning, sad part of the story. She does end up, unfortunately, losing her child, um, and it's a terrible story. She ends up having to go to the hospital, um, and because they don't, the doctor calls and says there's no viable heartbeat. What I think was crazy is, yeah, he took her to the hospital, but I think they went to dinner or something for his birthday or something like that. If I'm correct, or they had went out
Was
to,
it val? It wasn't Valentine's Day or
no, because
something.
this is May at this point,
Oh,
May
okay.
or June. But I feel like it was his birthday because she was like, yeah,
I need to know which one it is.
I feel like it was his, because at this point she got pregnant in
I
mid May.
need to know if it was May
This is
or
June.
June.
I think it was June.
It's
His,
giving
his,
Gemini. It's giving
his birthday
Gemini.
is June 17th. He's absolutely a Gemini. He's absolutely a Gemini. So yes, but what's crazy is I feel like, and I think if my timeline is right, She got pregnant mid-May, and then she officially or had lost the pregnancy by July, which makes me, and with the whole process that she was going through, that I would think that that would make it mid-June, which would be his birthday. So, but yeah, they end up going to dinner, and then she ends up taking a pill. It's not fun. And then she ends up needing a DNC, so she has to go to the hospital. That's something that needs to be scheduled. They schedule it, I think, 2 weeks out, which I think is July. And they have, she goes for her procedure. He lets her know like the day before, oh, I'm not going to be able to be there. And but it
So
recommends
he
that
has,
his sister
because he
for
has like he has some promotion thing. He got promoted.
yeah, he got promoted to the VP of
Mhm.
the condiment company. And so
Mhm.
he has to be there. And but the sister in Douglasville,
You know what? In all my digging, I would have had to know what the hell you was doing that day that you couldn't be there.
no, and I'm gonna be so honest with you. In my opinion, especially if I don't give if I wasn't your wife or not, in my opinion, this is now a family emergency. You call off. You take like I don't give a there would be nothing you could say to me to excuse you not being there for me in that moment. I'm sorry. It just is what it is. And then to add insult to injury, y'all, she goes into the procedure. She has her homegirl from work, which thank God for the homegirl, because clearly this is the one thing that I will say. She knew, she internally knew she was wrong when none of her friends knew what was going on. None of her family, none of her friends knew anything that was going on with her,
Mhm.
except the girl at work. Is that not a red flag? Like, I might be as hell, but I'll share my truth with you. I might not want to hear your, but at the end of the
Oh,
day,
but you gonna hear
right.
it.
What I'm not gonna do
I'm
is
gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till you feel better, but you gonna hear
right.
it.
But what I'm not gonna do is live in the shadows and be like, oh no, everything is fine. Like I
Mhm.
personally can't do that. I know people that do, but I personally can't do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so then she goes in for surgery. Her friend takes her in, and then he's supposed to pick her up because obviously she's been under. She's she was in there. I think she said like 3 hours, or no, she said it was an hour and a half procedure. But she ended up waiting almost 3 hours for him to pick her up. She
Mhm.
got the nurses were calling him, the doctors were calling him, and he's nowhere to be found
It's
because he's coming.
giving. It's giving. He was with somebody else. When was the? Never mind. Let me not tell the story before we get there. But go ahead.
But y'all, I'm telling you, that would have been once he picked me up and I got myself together, that would have been donezo. That's all I'm saying. And this, I'm sorry, I gotta add the little sprinkle on top. He now has an EA, David. David is responding to his text messages. So while she's in the, surgery trying to like, hey, I'm about to go in, da da da, she got supposedly his EA responding to her text messages saying, oh, he's busy right now. He's in a meeting, but he'll get back to you. But if you need me to go get him, because I know your situation and da da da. I just I just would have been done, y'all. I just would have been done. And because I know EAs, and let me tell you something. I've had wives call, and guess what? I'll find your man. I'll find him. Okay. I'll find your man because I know when you're calling me, oh, you need me to find him ASAP. That's what that means. Okay. All right. So anyway, so they go down this house process again. She says that if they're gonna do this, in order for this to work, they can't use his realtor friend. So they found a new real estate agent. I'm sorry. So this is Scott. So I don't know who the other guy was. Maybe his name was Daniel. I don't know. There was so
Oh
many.
my God, jeez.
So they looked at 15 different houses. She found one in Smyrna that she loved. They talked about it. They decided since the house was 669,000 that he was going to put up an all cash offer because he had the money in the savings from playing the arena football.
You see
And
what
she
I
said,
mean?
huh?
You see what I mean?
So she said that the offer came to her came to her place in her name, so she felt more involved, in the process. So she's like, oh, okay, he's doing something now. He's showing improvement, right? I'm just trying to, I'm not saying that this is what I think. I'm just trying to get inside her mind to understand why we're still in this relationship at this point that you can clearly walk out of. You still have freedom at this point, but I get it. You now got pregnant by the man, you've lost a child, there's trauma. I get it. You done got yourself tangled in a terrible fucking web that you could have didn't even need to weave yourself into. But anyway, so now she said that she watched him sign the documents to pay the 669,000 cash and that the seller had 24 hours to accept their offer. And so she, and she even sent the offer back herself. All right. Now, then she breaks down, there's a couple different, she does a clarification video where she just talks about how he's really from Philly, but went to all this other stuff, his history that kind of don't matter because at the end of the day, we all know it's a lie at this point. Now, the proposal, he gave her 3 ring options. It wasn't romantic. They went to the store and he told her when he was ready, he'd give her the ring and he proposed. And then he slammed the ring on the table and gave her a lackluster proposal. She said she accepted it because she was pregnant, but she takes accountability that there was no excuse for her to accept it. And I said, that's why I took notes on that. Because I said, okay, at least we have some accountability, which I think she did a good job with in a lot of stuff. So now, y'all, this is where I started keeping track. We're only at part 8 at this point. We're only at part 8. And all this has happened. All right. Now, the realtor comes back, says the offer is not accepted, and that the builder didn't counter offer. She doesn't know why, but the house fell through. So they went looking for other homes. He found something more expensive than what the approval was, but he told her he was willing to put a significant amount down from his savings in the house. So they went from 700K to 900K. I just, it's the, what's the word I'm looking for? The not the coof, that too, but the just you went even bigger. The audacity, the audaciousness.
For me, at this point, if you feel like you have to record video, like audio recordings and all this other stuff, and you don't believe him, why are you not going to these meetups? Why are you?
Because remember, no. Remember, she did say he wanted to handle it. He wanted to be a man. That was the thing.
You can handle it. I can just be there. I'll sit in the background. I won't say a goddamn word.
And even when she went, hear me out. Even when she went, I'm not defending her. I'm just playing devil's advocate because I done sat through so many of these videos. Even when she went, she saw him sign his name to these documents and submit them like he had it. So even if she went, he was still willing to go above and beyond to lie and straight up to her face. Like that's what it was given.
Because it was all with the homeboy.
No, this last offer was with Scott, who was somebody totally different that they did not know. And he was offering 669,000 cash with his name on it. Because remember, they said they declined the offer and they didn't know why.
But okay, I'm not gonna. That would be confusing because I'm sure the realtor sees the offer letter, like not the offer letter, the approval letter. They see that the bank approved it.
I don't know. Well, anyway, so we know he's VP of the company now. She says that he told her his job was at the plant and he walked the floors to make sure his subordinates were, doing what they were supposed to be doing. She said that she noticed he was still wearing the company outfit, like, like the whatever they wear, a uniform, and not so much
dressing up. Exactly.
It wasn't the attire of a VP. And so she said again, flags, you know what I'm saying? But
I'd have had to drop him off lunch or something. Something.
He said that his excuse was he was constantly working on the production floor. And so, again, we get into another house that she wants to put an offer on. And they put it's 700. They put in an offer for 650K. And she said the reason that house fell through because it was on a septic tank or something like that, and the sellers weren't willing to fix it, and it would cost them 25K to fix. So she was okay with walking away. So I say that to say because obviously there are situations where she probably tells herself, Okay, well, no, this is not smart. And it's not necessarily him, but it makes her overlook the major things that shouldn't be overlooked, is what I'm saying. But no. Now we get to part nine. We get to the cars. The cars. I love it. So they when they met, he was she was driving a 2012 Nissan Rogue fully loaded. He was driving a 2018 Ford Taurus. Now he
And what was she driving?
a 2012 Nissan Rogue.
And he had a 2018 Ford Taurus.
Yeah. He told her he would be getting a company car. So they went to Range Rover. This is the part that hurt me. They went to Range Rover, BMW, and Jaguar to test drive all these cars. He chose a BMW sedan and told the dealership his company is going to wire over money for the car. So he calls the
So they didn't
finance.
even have to run his credit. He was
This
supposed
is
to.
what I'm saying. Some of this stuff,
So,
I'm like, yo.
so when he,
But she says it was the demic, and so much. I guess that's the only thing I can believe why all these things are happening, because a lot of people were able to run scams in the demic. Like,
my question is, so when he said I'm gonna have them wire over the money, does he mean wire over the full amount, like where you don't have to run my credit? I'm just gonna pay for the car
yeah, he was
today.
just going, well, yeah. I know, I know that salesperson ain't got no job no more because of him.
Jesus. They gonna blame it on the demic too. It was the demic.
So, yeah. So they told him they were going to wire over the money, and he calls the finance department from his job in front of them, and the finance guy at the dealership explains, explains to them about the deal, and then there's this whole transaction and a lot of phone calls, but the person that can approve the transaction has conveniently gone home for the day.
It always seems to happen that way. Can't
So,
conveniently let them in the building because they ain't there. All types of mess.
So he tells them that first thing in the morning, he's going to get the money wired to them. He then tells her that he wants her to get a car because, she was about to have a baby. And so she wants a Kia Telluride. I actually hate those things. But she says that she really wanted her BMW X5. So he had her test drive all these cars. He apparently really wanted her to have a BMW and says that he used to have one before he left California. Even showed her pictures of it, but said that it was total and he happened to, fall into some money. So he just got a vehicle to get him from point A to point B, which is that Taurus. So she said she wanted this BMW with a cognac interior, and he tells her that
Car, she got some good taste.
right. And then she's like, okay, well then he wants her to consider an Audi. So he has her over at Audi. At this point, I'm like her. I am not about to spend my weekends test driving and walking around houses, especially if we ain't getting one. It's only so many times I'm gonna do it. But you know, he told her family that he was buying her a car. Apparently, he met them that the family hasn't met him because of the lockdown, so they met him on Zoom. But they eventually will meet him in person. And then, goddamn it, part 10. Her family's all impressed, and she realized that he always bragged about all of the money that he had, and she knew that that was something that she should have paid attention to. Because, but again, this is what confuses me. He clearly had money because they were going places, they were doing things, he was paying her bills. He just didn't have. I don't know. I just don't know how it goes so left. By the time we get to the end of this, I don't know how it goes so far left. They're going to the Audi dealership. She sees one that she likes. They're getting ready to buy it. They talk. He calls his financial advisor, Eric, who doesn't exist, in front of her to request the funds so that he can get this car. And she said that he would like pause when he was on the phone with people, as like if he was getting a response. So that's another thing that I thought was really special. You got to be a really what's the word? I don't want to say manipulative, deceptive individual to go and fake. Like, who does that?
Somebody who's manipulative and deceptive.
I'm just saying. But anyway, so anyway, they tell her they arrange this. They tell her the car is going to be delivered, and he tells her she needs to be home and between 1 and 3, and then between 1 and 3, the car never comes. That would have been it for I didn't take off work. They say that the car is stuck on a truck on its way from,
I think on the
like,
back of a trailer or something, right?
yeah, from Spartanburg. That's where their deliveries come from. I bet he googled that. But that's
He
where they,
always seemed ready. He
huh?
always seemed ready with his answers.
But what was so crazy, he says it'll be delivered that weekend, and then the weekend came, and it
And
just
left.
never came. Um, and so she says at this point she's gonna get one herself. And I was like, I'm all for that motivation, boo boo, because that's how you probably should have been thinking in the beginning. I ain't wrong with that. That might be how you ended up in this situation with this man. However, what I'm gonna need you to do is realize getting it for leave him. Like, I just didn't understand why we're still doing this with him and letting him lie to you, and then like, well, I'm just gonna get my own.
Girl, because she was happy to be getting her bills paid. That's the only way she was gonna get the car.
So this is her opinion. Tita Risa, she said that her ex enjoyed seeing her get excited about things and then not delivering and knowing that he couldn't deliver.
Hmm.
I said, now that's really special.
Mm-hmm.
And so we all know about his family background, but we know that he has a brother, supposedly a brother in Baltimore. He has a brother in Nashville, and then the sister in Douglasville, and there's a sister somewhere else.
The sister niece.
The sister, no, the sister cousin. I thought she was,
Oh, that's right. The sister
yeah,
cousin.
yeah, sister cousin. Um, but she said that he would talk to. This is important because she said that he would talk to this brother 30 to 45 minutes every morning. This is what I was talking about earlier. He would talk on the phone to somebody, and she said, I would walk past him. He would say, hey, John said, hey. And, like we were having dialogue, like it wasn't. And she was like, at this point, and this is terrible that we have to think this, if it's not on speakerphone, it didn't happen.
My thing is, I can't actually fathom the fact that he's not talking to somebody. I have to believe that he was talking to somebody. Because to have this type of dedication where you do this every morning for 30 or 40 minutes and act like you're changing subjects, you're talking about different things, different facial expressions, different conversations. I mean,
Every day.
every day. That's what
Every
I'm saying.
day.
I really can't fathom that it was nobody. Like I have to
And it
believe
was
that
6 in the morning.
I can't fathom that somebody has that type of dedication to lie. Like I have to believe in my mind.
But that's what I'm saying. I think Shay Squad, y'all dropped down in the comments. I think that's what she convinced herself. There's just, I think we all want to believe nobody is that sick or like really sick that I'm just gonna sit here and talk to myself and pretend that I am talking to somebody and sit and engage with. Because to me, that's
Every
low key.
morning.
That's
Every
like
morning.
that's like I'm sorry. That's beyond like a pathological liar. That to me, braid in the path of it all. So yeah, we know that the aunt did try to meet her, but she declined, I believe, because it was the bid going on. Um, and then and I guess he said that his uncle had passed away from it, and so his aunt was very much like, okay, yeah, we're just gonna keep our distance. So she never got to really meet any of his family, but she did say she met the brother. I thought she said she met the brother in Baltimore.
Brother who ain't the brother.
I don't know now. Look, now I can't even. As I'm going back, I'm like, well, now I'm
It
questioning.
wasn't twin. Where have
Where
you
have you
been?
been?
Okay.
No, apparently, look,
Nobody knows him. Nobody knows him.
apparently his twin don't with him. So part 12, y'all. 2020, she was told that he and his ex-wife used to be friends. He bought a home uh, with the money, again, with the money he made in arena football. Even showed her pictures of the house. He says that he came home early one day and caught his wife with another man. This is important. All right. They began to tussle and he kicked him out, but he told her the kids could stay. So he filed for divorce in California and this ended up being nasty. He ended up agreeing to help her kids because he had a relationship with them. And then 2 years later, the job comes with the opportunity in Georgia. She says that she's heard him on the phone with the kids and they've even wanted to meet her.
And
The
heard the kids on the phone.
she's apparently again nobody thinks that we gotta sit on the other line and he apparently would send them money. He tells her the ex-wife is moving to Georgia, the same county, but reassures her that they're cool for the kids.
For me, I don't. I want. You know what? So for me, right?
Oh, and then
For
he
me,
shares about the fact that she was pregnant with the ex-wife, which she was upset about.
for me, that to me, that's where the setup for the cheating started. When he said, "Oh, the ex-wife is moving back to Georgia for like and like with the kids."
Oh, absolutely. Or that was a cover for one of the things, but you know
It was like, I'm gonna be spending more time outside the house, being that she's here and the kids are here or whatever.
so then part 13, she reminisces on them deciding, the poor decision to move in together after 2 weeks. Being pregnant by May, losing her child in June, shopping for houses and cars in August. She did end up getting a Nissan Altima, but he made the down payment and said that he would help her pay her car note. And she realized that that was a mistake by getting a car she knew she couldn't afford alone. Then they look at another house in October 2020. It was about 700K. She says she watched him put an all cash offer on the house. And then the real estate agent calls and says the seller loves the offer and asks him to show proof of funds. This is when things get interesting, y'all. Okay. I'm learning a lot about buying houses now. I didn't even know these things, but I'm also not putting in cash offers. So and so the ex rebuttals and says he'll wait till they accept the offer. So they're at a standoff, and then the seller gives him, and the seller's like, "Well, I don't give a. You got 2 days to show proof of funds, or it's no deal."
Because regardless whether it's cash or the bank, I'm going to get my money. So
Right. So he needed to show that he could, pay cash, and of course he didn't show it. The real estate agent calls and says that he messed up, and he can't show them another house until he can show proof of funds. And so, her ex husband isn't budging, and the real estate, poor Scott, eventually quits. Scott said, "I can't do this shit no more." But what it was really crazy is how he tried to manipulate it and say, "Well, you didn't do what you were supposed to do, and you were supposed to do that in the beginning, and da 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 da," and tried to cut up Scott, which he was. But it's up when he's like, "Oh yeah," and da da da. So moving forward, we need to do this, and he tried to like chastise him. I said, "That is a real narcissist."
well, because in Scott's defense, he's trying to make the sale.
Mhm.
Okay. And he believes that you ain't just out here pulling his damn leg and you actually trying to buy damn house. Just like his wife said, who would lie about that? Who wants to spend their days looking at houses that they're never going to get, that they can't afford
Mm.
for the in fun of it?
Well, anyway, now, part 14, she tells him, "I don't want to look at another damn house or
Mhm.
talk about a car." And she just wanted to get through the holidays. So things are really rough. I've been in that spot. She admits that she didn't want, she didn't want to be alone and she was afraid of looking stupid and was just ready to be married. So she starts to question herself and she knows that she's seen all this paperwork. She's heard all these phone calls. So and doesn't understand what she's missing. So she admits that she wasn't speaking to her family and her girlfriends, as I mentioned to y'all before, about what was going on. And then basically they didn't talk about cars or homes for all of November or December. He comes to admit that, he messed up and says that he wants them to get married. He tells her he'll show her whatever to put her mind at ease. And then he showed her his checking account balance, okay, and his savings account. And so she feels a little bit better about this. And, you know, but he didn't show her the US bank or the offshore. Um, but she was like, there was money. And she says that she wants to basically go through, basically get a mortgage through a bank, so they don't have this happen again. And, he BS's her and, agrees that he'll do that, even though we know that's not the case. But basically says we're not going to look into houses to New Year. And so then what I thought was terrible is part 15, December 2020. They have a conversation about the fact that they're living together and unmarried. They need to get married. He tells her he's willing to do whatever to make it work. They filed for a marriage license. She said when she saw him put down his social, she took a basically a personal mental note of it and then decided that she was going to run a background check. So I will say I had to write this down because I was like, oh, so she was getting hip. She wasn't completely all the way, you know, um, because she did try to do her due diligence. Don't do that, Nails. I saw that arrow.
But
Um,
then you don't confront it when my
then
thing
she came back.
you're waiting till everything piles up though.
Well, I was gonna say she
Every
obviously
time you
saw.
find out something, it's just a mental note. It's just a mental check. Instead of saying this shit didn't check out. I'm out of here or you're out of here. You're waiting till everything's been piled up.
Hmm. Well, anyway, so they go get married. She tells her family and friends they're kind of disappointed. And they got married on January 5th. They got some wings, and then she went to work. By January 31st, she knew her marriage was in trouble. So that was and she got her name changed after 3 days. So, y'all,
Got her name changed to what?
his last name.
Girl, that took me almost 2 years to do.
Right. I was just like, wow. So then, part 16, she says she's sharing her story to help other women and bring light to the things that she looked over. And she says that she feels it's the consequences of telling him he took too long. She just wanted, she just wanted it to be her turn. And so she excused away a lot of bullshit, basically. Part 17, she explains her role, working for the patrol, which didn't seem to be an issue because his dad was a retired police officer, if you guys didn't know that. And she said, and apparently a pastor. She says that, he has met her mother and the friend. He starts questioning, what she's wearing to work, how long she's there. And then he starts looking for houses in Sandy Springs, although she wasn't interested. But she doesn't give him the reaction that he wanted. And then she talks about his standard schedule, him coming home, and then how basically she messed up her remote work privileges because she basically wasn't working.
Sleeping all damn day. Watching
Right.
Netflix.
But that's what happens when you're depressed and you can't admit it. And according to, we'll get there, but like I said, it wasn't even like, it doesn't even sound like he was really putting it down like that. So then she started, if at all. I'm just saying, like, it'd be different. You know how when you young and in love, and it'd be like, it'd be different if I'm gonna lose my job because I'm sitting up getting it in all day, eating food and just, being a bum. But hey, I got, something to stay home for. But no, no, we
Mm.
can't just be, you not laying no dick down and and I'm losing my money.
Because he was laying it everywhere else, child. He ain't got
Well,
no energy.
well, that
They're
part.
taking all of his energy.
So anyway, then she noticed that he started coming home later and later, uh, which obviously is not good. We know when there's a break in routine, there's usually a problem. And so she realized things were changing and her marriage was in trouble. She goes to get her nails done and gets a text from him saying some guy came by their house looking for her and tells her he thinks it was someone she messed with and suggests that it may have been her ex. And he tells her, and then tells her that I'm not that worried because she's like, who? What? Who would think that they could pop up? I'm not this type of person. And he's like, ooh, your reaction, I just feel like, oh, what it's giving is giving that like you're real suspect. And I said, now that is a real, that's a narc. That's a narc right there. That's a true narc.
Be patient. She got some patience, boy.
No, she let that build. She when by the time she actually like lost her, I was like, I completely understood where she was going from. Part 18, she's still trying to figure out who he is, or who the person is that popped up. She goes to ask her neighbor to check the camera, because it has a, it's facing her driveway, and learns that no one ever came in her driveway. So she realizes he's made this whole story up just to get a reaction from her. And I said, wow. Then we look, now I'm gonna start skipping because some stuff just wasn't. Part 20, she talks about him showing her his grandparents' headstone while they were driving around one day. She, talks about driving past the building he claimed he works at, and that's where he keeps the company car. So then she asked to go to his office, and he makes some calls to what's the David, the EA. David, ain't available, and then apparently the security's not on duty. He luckily doesn't have his badge. So of course they never actually get into the building for her to look at the office. Now, part 21, she talks about planning her trip, that she wants to go to London, and he being the complete love bomber and
He surprised her with this trip.
had it planned out, had an itinerary. Yo, if
But wait, wasn't it?
so,
Wasn't it? It wasn't. It wasn't his. I mean, I know it was BS, but it wasn't his fault that they didn't go. It's because they didn't do their passport.
right.
So technically, I mean, we
He
know.
was never gonna take
I
her.
mean, we know.
But you know how I feel about stuff like that. Like
But
that,
she had to let that one slide.
I don't know, because I'm gonna be honest with you. That's the one that would have made me. I don't give a damn. You should have made sure we got our But they look. Let's move ahead. That would have been it for me. I would have went to jail. You're not gonna love bomb me like that. Make me think you done planned some shit. You done been extra romantic. Whew.
and
Anyway,
guess what? He would have threw right back in her face. Well, you had the applications to fill out.
right. Well, at this point, this is March, so we're back in another year. This is March 2021. So April, or no, her mom's supposed to be coming in April. So she decides to look through the phone, probably following that gut feeling, intuition, and finds
That
that he's
that
cheating.
she ignored last time.
Right. And finds that he's cheating right before, her mom's supposed to come the next month. The girl was very vulgar in her text. And they was
Talking about when you gonna come get this.
right.
He said, when you gonna come get this?
And when she confronts him about it, he said that he was just playing around and flirting. She's just upset that, she didn't get her lick back. And they agree to go to marriage counseling at this point, and they try to work it out. And she talks about how seeing the messages, of course, as women, when we start to question ourselves, like, what the fuck? And because he wasn't giving it to her at home, which I think I said this more than once or
Well,
twice.
she said he was. She didn't say he wasn't giving to her. She said he wasn't
He
doing it
won't
like
give it to her like that.
the way he was putting the messages. She was like, he over here acting like I'm Virgin Mary, and he over here into some other stuff.
So she decided to, this is very important. She decided to call her aunt to confide in her about what's going on. And she told her that she married him. And so she can't give her no advice. This ain't just no boyfriend. You went and married that man. And she was like, you can't just run to my so a lot of people had an issue with that, because she did and I didn't circle back to do that video, or do that part of the video, because I was gonna bring it up now. But a lot of people did feel like what the aunt said was effed up.
Hmm.
What were your thoughts? And Shade Squad, please weigh in. What were your thoughts?
I think it was super dismissive. Um,
Well,
I
they
think
just felt like she wasn't supportive in her video, her response to that. She was like,
yeah,
my
just
aunt
because you
was just
married, you act like there's no way out.
right. But she was just like, my aunt was just making it clear. They're like, hey, this is not a game. This is a marriage. It's just not like a boyfriend. And you just got to take it a little bit more seriously, and you're going to have problems in a marriage, basically. Your face.
Child, all you
So
would have had to tell me is y'all wanted to go look at all these houses and tried out all these cars, and ain't nothing
well, I
fall
don't
through.
think this is
Divorce his ass.
this
Divorce.
is what I'm saying. I don't think that she told her on all that. I think she just told her about the cheating. Because even when we get towards the
I
end,
mean, that would have been enough for me too.
well, you're terrible. Anyway, um, so yeah, so then 23, they start their counseling with the pastor and his wife. They were concerned that they were only married 3 months and there are already intimacy issues. Is another reason why I think that there's nothing going on in the bedroom. The pastor brings up his infidelity, and he doesn't want to take any accountability for it. And even they weren't hopeful that they could work through their issues. He comes to her to suggest that they get a joint bank account, and so she asked to see his account balance and says that it hit over 9600 in his account. So she said, and his Chase savings had 15K. So when she asked about the US bank and the offshore account, he refused to show her, and it was even brought up in counseling, and he still refused. Any thoughts on that?
Listen, I'm over. I listen, listen. This.
The counseling thing, when the pastor was like, this ain't it, baby. This ain't it. I said, that's people of the Lord telling you that, look, openly telling you you might need to get a divorce, baby. I would have heeded that word very seriously, because they don't throw that out there like that. So if they're telling you, baby, this
Most
ain't
counselors don't even tell you what to do or what they would
right,
have
but
told
when
you to
they
do.
say they don't see this working, you
What
gotta,
she said, I don't see you making it to January.
yeah.
Oh no, child, shut up.
So part 24, he found another house. He wants to put down another cash offer. Amber
I'm so tired of hearing about these damn houses.
is a part of the process. So
Oh my god.
Amber, the smart agent, asked to see his pre-approval letter and his proof of funds out the gate. He
That's
doesn't
normally
want
what they do.
he doesn't want to submit proof of funds until the offer is accepted. Uh,
Did he show the pre-approval letter?
no, I guess that's why. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Because that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to ask you for at least the pre-approval letter. For them to even take their time to show you a
Well,
house.
yeah, she said the pre-approval letter, but she also wanted the proof of funds. And he said that he wasn't going to do that. So Amber said, until they actually accept his offer, and so she stands 10 toes down, and ends up calling Ressa and saying like, "Girl, what's going on? Because something ain't right. I just need a screenshot, something. Look, be careful what you ask for. He could have gave you a screenshot, but I need something to prove that this man can pay for this house. Why can't he just?" And she finally admitted to her and herself, "Girl, I don't know, but just withdraw this offer, because I don't want this in my name either. Withdraw this offer." And basically they have a heart to heart, and I wouldn't even say heart to heart. She said, "Girl, go do your research. Go do your research." And so that was, I think, the last we heard of Amber the agent. Um, but there was so many
Especially
agents.
with them AT aliens out there. Boy, boy, boy.
So then part 25, she starts looking for another job because she now wants to be financially independent. When she told him, he laughed at her. And so, she also has to do this background packet, which when I was listening to the story, I was like, he could have he could have messed up her opportunity to get a better job. Like, obviously she said that's her current job, so we know that she
I'm
got
not
it.
gonna lie. When this came up, I thought about you.
And I was like, oh my God, that's so terrible. But yeah, so he basically had to put his social, all his stuff or whatever, background information on her paperwork. And as I was just saying to y'all, that's very serious. You could really mess somebody up lying on their paperwork, lying about yourself. But anyway, so he gives her the number. She double checks it with the one that she had on the marriage license. And then she finds out, or looks and finds out that, he's never had an address in San Diego at all. At all. California, period. I think it was Rhode Island, Georgia, and Philly.
Hmm.
Those were the only places. Um, and yeah, and so she's now like, okay. And then apparently around this time, he starts to have knee injuries, and woe is me. And she's like, well, you should go to the doctor. And he's like, oh, it's from an old football injury. He'll be fine. And it started to make me think, do you have a job? Or if you do, is it part time?
You talking about her or him?
Him.
Well, no, she said that he was going into work, but he was calling out a lot more.
We know later on what he was doing during his days. A part of me believes that maybe he would have been working a part of me believes that he was working part time and he didn't have any benefits. He didn't have any health benefits because I just can't imagine you going through that pain. Even when you don't have benefits, you go. You know what I'm saying? You'll still go to it, but it makes me think that he had no type of health insurance. That's just my thing, and he just didn't want to tell her that. But anyway, so then the knee, basically is getting progressively worse. He starts taking her pain medication from when she had her loss. And he moves into the guest room at this point. He claims it's hard for him to work with his bum knee, but he's still going to work, as Nels is saying. He gets a phone call from the stepson saying that his sister has expired
Oh Lord.
and they needed some
That
money.
the stepson's sister has expired.
Yeah. And so she agreed to send them about, because it was married, they're a married couple and it's, both their money. So they agreed they're going to send them $2,000. I wondered where this money went.
I want to know too, because she never brought it back up. Once you found out that that wasn't the case, sir, where she may not have really questioned it because it was his money. He sent it and just asked, permission or whatever, confirmed that she was okay with it. But where you spent 2,000? You paying somebody's bills? What's up? What happened? What you was doing?
Mm. Then this is when we get into the juicy part. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the series. Part 27 and 28. She is going off the background check. She goes and starts looking up obituaries.
Hmm.
And she finds the obituary from his mom's funeral. And she goes and she sees that there's a wife listed
She
next
said
to his name,
Latoya or something.
Latoya. So in this process, I think she then ends up going to find or pull up his divorce. No, she ends up calling San Diego State, finds out that he never attended the school at all. They have no record of him. Um, then she goes
He's a private citizen.
then she goes to to the
He,
courthouse.
he always stay ready, boy. He always, whether they made sense or not, he stayed ready with an
He
answer.
did. He and then she goes to the courthouse, looks up his divorce decree or whatever, and finds the phone number. Well, first of all, finds out that he was divorced in Georgia, but finds the contact information for the ex-wife. So now,
Married and divorced in Georgia.
right. So now part 28 really gets into the phone call with the ex-wife. The ex-wife, basically, to sum it up, lets her know that anything that he tells her is a lie.
Everything on his mouth is a lie.
Everything's a lie.
Don't believe nothing that man says.
She also lets her know about the girlfriend that lived in Douglasville. And she now realizes
That
that the
he cheated
girlfriend,
with, right?
yes, and she now realizes that the girlfriend in Douglasville is Shantae, who's supposed to be the sister. So,
I want to
but
know what would have
apparently,
happened if he would have said, "Yeah, come help, have Shantae come help me."
Shantae was found out. And I mean not Shantae. He was found out by Shantae. She kicked him out her house, and so on. And that's why how he
I
floated
would have
away.
just loved to know what would happen if she was like, "Yeah, tell your sister to come on and help me while I'm going through this time," and brought Shantae over.
Clearly, he liked violence. He chooses violence on a regular basis. So anyway, part by this time we're at part
He
30.
sure know how to pick them because they seem non-violent.
Right.
He ain't
But
getting with the right
no,
ones
stop.
to make him stop.
Look, you forget about you, Latoya. Okay. Now, part 30. We getting to the finish line, y'all. We getting there. Her mom comes to visit, doesn't think anything is wrong with Legion, but she knows something ain't right. So she gonna get on her praying knees and figure and pray the demon, the Legion up out of her. Now, part 31, she spoke with the pastor. She's
Hold up.
telling,
Did you say the what? The lesion?
yeah, you know that's the thing in the Bible.
Oh no, because they calling him Legions.
Oh, well, no, that's why
Well,
she.
no, because he has lesions on his face.
Oh no, I didn't
That's
know
what
that.
that, I said. Wait a second, hold up. They're calling him legions, lesions.
Oh yeah, no, I was calling them based off why she gave him that name from the Bible story.
Oh,
Yeah, because it does
well,
make sense.
he got a. There's another reason why he got that name now.
Oh,
But
you see,
we ain't gonna get into that because
we
that
don't
ain't
know.
YouTube appropriate.
Yes. So now, part 31, she spoke with the pastor and she tells him that she found what she found out. And he basically is now trying to plan her exit strategy. Part 32, he's now bedridden from his injury. He was still going to work every now and then, but as Nell said, he was calling out. He's left the condiment company and he's now just working for Apple. And this is what I'm saying. Was he really not shading? When he says working for Apple, was he working at the little kiosk in the middle of the mall at the little thing?
If you working for Apple, I'm coming to your job, man. I'm gonna bring you lunch. We gonna
Not
go.
during the vid. Not during the
Yeah,
vid.
this is not during the
Again,
bid.
I'm just saying this is
Hey,
still
guess what? If you're able to go in the store and customers can go in the store, guess what? I'm going in the store.
even back then. I think you still had to make appointments, and it was only a few people at a time. I'm just saying that again, as we started this, a lot of these things happened and were able to go down because of what was going on at the time. Now,
They're giving excuses.
I'm just saying. Anyway, so
We
she
can go to
finds
a restaurant during your lunch break.
you're funny. She finds in his phone that that he never turned back into Apple. She finds a message from a woman named Peaches. Now, she said that it started June of 2021. He met Peaches on Plenty of Fish in February, and apparently she was a whore. Okay, let's just call it what it is. She listed her prices.
Well, I mean,
I'm sorry, sex worker.
there you go. Because
Okay.
when you say whore, for me, that makes it seem like just somebody that just likes to punch.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. She was, yeah,
But no, she was getting paid for
yeah.
it. It's totally different. Totally different.
So reesateesa says that it wasn't the cheating for her, but she was just relieved because she wanted to divorce him because he was a liar. And I said, well, I can understand that. So part 33, she confronts him
But
about
she still stayed.
well, part 33, she confronts him about attending San Diego State and living in California. He denies everything. And as Nell said, claimed he was a private citizen. She tells him she called San Diego State to verify. And she tells him she doesn't think their marriage is going to work and they need to go their separate ways. He tells her that's not what marriage is. And she and basically says they have to fight for it. She says, I don't want to. I don't want it. I don't want it.
I just love that she did it on his birthday.
Now that
That's the only thing. I just love that they did it on that she did it on. She's like, you know what?
And
I'm
I
gonna.
love that she didn't have no like balloons or nothing for him. Like,
She's like, you know what? She just woke up because she had already ordered his cake and everything. But she's like, she woke up and said, you know what? F his birthday. I'm gonna wreck shit today. Let's do it.
she woke up and chose violence that day.
Happy birthday.
So right, and then she tells him to call his siblings and get his and get out. Okay, get his and
She
get
said, because
out.
I am nonviolent, but you gonna turn me.
So she said he was moving too slow, but he finally called his aunt and asked if he could, she could send him some money because, she's kicking him out. His wife don't want him no more because she said he's a liar and he ain't never lied to her about nothing. And this at this point makes her lose
She
her
said,
mind.
he got the money. Go get it out
Right.
that offshore account. Where your money at? You got it.
So basically, she tells him to get out. This is part 34. He finally leaves after bucking up a bit, trying to say stuff with his chest. And then she calls the landlord, asks, to get the locks changed. He's basically out at this point. Part 35, she's packing up all his stuff. And she finds everything he left because he packed in a hurry. He apparently left a photo album behind with pictures of him and his siblings and his parents. And she said she had originally planned to have a burn party on Facebook Live, but decided against that because that's not the mature thing to do, even though it would have been
Well,
fun.
and she said, well, listen, because I've been there, okay? She said she didn't want to burn up family photos and stuff of, deceased people and stuff like that. And I get that, but I ain't gonna lie, I would have just left that stuff out.
So apparently he
That
did.
would have just been packed up. Everything else would have been in the burn party.
Right. Well, no, he had some nice stuff. She better sell that. But anyway, so went to Philly and she filed for divorce. He had the documents for him to sign. She tells his family. that he walked in on her having an affair, and then she stole his money, and her lover held his duty weapon to his head to get him out in the middle of the altercation. So you've had this happen to you twice, my brother? Twice.
You know what's so funny? What's so funny is he was lying on TikTok talking about how Netflix is picking up his story. Netflix and want nothing to do with his lying, manipulative ass. They ain't gonna believe none of his damn story. They gonna
No,
know the whole
look,
thing
look,
is
look,
a
look.
lie.
You say that, but if they give Yolanda, whatever her damn name is, some shit, they might give him one too. I know we're not supposed to even speak about her, but
ID will give her a story before Netflix do.
anyway, so
They bet not. They, especially when Netflix made a whole series about Selena, they better not give
no, you know
Yolanda.
they gave her a special. Somebody, I don't know if it's
Gave
Netflix.
who was special?
Yolanda.
ID,
Oh, ID gave it to her. Oh,
not Netflix.
oh. Anyway, so she decides. He was still texting, calling her. You know, she got the documents for him to sign. He's lying to everybody. The cousin calls her, and it's like, I want to find out what's going on because he's telling us this crazy
And we
story.
know his ass is a liar.
And we know he's a liar. And they didn't even know he was married. She then learns he only has two brothers, not four, and he's actually a twin.
And the younger brother is actually the older brother who's 20 minutes older than him.
So then, part 36, the cousin lets her know that he and his brother have been beefing for a while. So they definitely weren't talking every day like she thought. She learns the younger brother in Nashville actually, well, that's the one, that's the twin. She has, she says Kim, who I guess he's portrayed to be the sister, it was actually her daughter. So that means that that was his cousin, and they haven't spoken in 20 years.
So wait, wait. Okay, this was the cousin. Okay, that's where I
Yeah.
was confused. It was the
So
cousin.
then we learn the two other brothers do not exist, but those are the ones that she met. And then the
And that
cousin
he
says,
lied about talking about his daddy was a Rolling Stone.
right. And but he says that she says that she's going to put her in touch with the older brother. So part 37, she talks to the older brother. Legion has, I think, he came back to Augusta at this point. I don't know if he moved back or if he was like there permanently, but he's back in Augusta at this point. She needs him. She needs his signature on the divorce document. And of course, just trying to keep it nice. The apparently he shows up, and I for some reason I feel like I have in my notes the family members kicked him to the curb because he continued lying. So she says he showed up looking like he hadn't bathed in 3 days. She gets him she gets him to sign the agreement, and he didn't even read it. She said in the agreement it stated that everything that he left now belonged to her. So
Hmm.
she gave him $5 to $6 to get some chicken nuggets because he looked like he had eaten. And walked him to his car when she realized that he'd been living in his car. So she now knows for sure that the offshore accounts. Oh, you didn't get that? So she's now realizing that the offshore account. When I tell you, karma spun the block.
What happened to that $9,800 he had in his account?
Right. So, part 40, July 2021, she talks to the older brother, and he brings up the brother that, that he's always been a liar. The brother's name is Chris. Chris admits that he hasn't spoken to his brother since 2015 after their mother's funeral. She brings up the fake phone calls that he used to make to him every day. And he debunks all the other random siblings that Legion has told her about. And then he tells her to get a divorce and forget her brother, respectfully. And then part 41, Chris reveals everything she was told about the parents wasn't true. She talks about how Legion claimed to be sending his daughter, Chris's daughter, his niece, gifts for her birthday. Chris says he's sure that that never happened. So now she's trying to figure out what little girl, because these were kids' shoes, what little girl she was buying, because she said she even shipped them.
He's a
And I
liar, a cheater,
And then in
deceiver,
part 42, she
crazy.
finds a secondary personal phone that he claimed to be a work phone. And then she actually finds out that it was a prepaid phone with minutes.
I didn't even know they still had those.
Right. When she said that, I said, bitch, it's 2021.
Maybe that's like a burner phone, I guess. You use that for like a burner phone.
So we learned that he was actually just a forklift loader at his job. She talks about how she,
At
again,
which job?
I guess the condiment company.
I want to know what he did for Apple.
You stupid. Um, then we learned, and I've learned some stuff too. if you're gonna go through a phone, go through the deleted folder. That's where the good stuff is. Because people forget to delete.
I
Okay.
do.
I don't either. But
But I got
anyway,
an iPhone. I know better. And
so
it
she
teaches
finds
me.
screenshots of the check-ins and savings that he showed her. She finally realizes from doing a reverse Google search that this was just an image that anybody could pull up. She also finds out this is really terrible, but it's like she finds out the work car and the house that he showed her that he used to own in San Diego are also Google images. She also learns that he lied and told his aunt that they had a baby boy. He said that he was going to leave her and take the baby while she was at work. And in part 43, she said he told several people about the baby, and people were trying to send them gifts, and the aunt doesn't want to get in the middle of the divorce because she was involved in the last one with Latoya, and apparently the restraining order that's in place between him and the ex-wife was because the ex-wife decided she needed to whoop his ass after learning about some lies that he had told.
I'm done with her. I'm
And
done with her.
so
Risa Teaser can't get nothing else from me.
you see,
You know what? I'm glad that she's getting, allegedly the BMW, okay, that she
he's getting
wants.
her trip to
She's
London.
getting her trust. I hope she get a house. I hope she get a house from this because apparently, supposedly, TikTok ain't really give her, what she's due, okay, because she didn't take the proper steps. But listen, I hope she get all that she deserves. But I'm done with Risa. I'm done with this.
I thought it was Risa Tisa.
Yeah, Risa
Oh,
Tisa.
okay.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done.
Well, yeah,
Now everybody and their mama want to come out. Listen, and now we don't found out some more stuff, and it's just getting dirty and muggy. This water is disgusting. Okay, I don't want nothing else to do. Get me out the group chat.
well, yeah. As y'all know, yeah, yeah. Take us out the group chat. But as Nell said, there are other videos. Other women have come out, ex-wives, other ex-girlfriends have come out and shared their experiences. Legion has come out. I have not watched it. I'm not even gonna be on. I mean, be honest with you, I don't care to watch it. I may watch it from someone else's like Stitch or no, because that would still give him a view, and I don't want to give him a view. But so I may not watch it at all. But we appreciate all those who came to watch us recap this lovely debacle. What we made it, like I said, I think I made it to like 46 notes wise, but yeah, y'all. And you can tell Nels wasn't here for it. But anyway, we appreciate y'all being here for this long saga of the Who the F Did I Marry recap. If you have not already, all of our Shade Squad and new viewers, please make sure that you hit that like button.
Make sure you comment
Make sure you subscribe
and you hit the notification bell.
and make sure you're following us on all the platforms, the TikTok, the Twitter, the Facebook, and the IG. And we will definitely catch you. We won't be coming back for this. Like I said, we are getting out of the group chat, but we do have some other sip and shade topics coming up later this week. So stay tuned and thank you guys for your support and have a great week. Bye bye.
Good night.